DesRow is such a classy guy in my experience with him. He talked to me like it was like 2 months ago. He's like, "Hey man, you're a good caster. You want to cast a show match I'm doing?" And he's like, and I'm like, "Yeah." So it's just I have a warm spot in my heart for DesRow. Of course, he's been working hard in Korea, trying to get better. He's been up there for a while too, and I think used his own money to get there too. So it's just really cool to see foreigners, taking the initiative, going out to Korea and trying to get better at the game.
Yeah, I had some, I guess, interesting interactions with DesRow in the past, but he's one of those guys that he's really trying to improve and change his mentality, and I'm certainly someone who can get behind that. I'm trying to do the same thing myself. So
yeah,
it's just awesome that he's trying to become a better person, and everything, and he's trying to become much better at the game. And it's just great. So I can't wait to watch this game against Symbol, because Symbol is he's one of those guys that he doesn't get like a lot of recognition, but I think he's one of those players that a lot of people like to use as like a practice partner. He's kind of like everywhere. He's playing all the time.
Isn't he an Iron Squid? Didn't he 4-0? I want to see 4-0 ranking the other day.
I think you're right. I think he did. Yeah, so I think you're right.
This guy's freaking good.
Yeah, he doesn't get nearly enough recognition at all.
Oh, he will in the future, because not just anyone 4-0's ranking. Like, Orb's not going to go 4-0 ranking tomorrow, right?
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Orb's like, I've been working on my PvT, man. Leave me alone.
All I got to do is get a disconnect in the middle of the finals.
Oh, he went there.
Oh, too soon. I'm sorry.
He went there. He went there. So should we, let's see, I guess we've already seen a PvZ on this map, so we don't have to beat that to death. I think we should just jump into the game. What do you think?
I agree. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. In the bottom left-hand location of Cloud Kingdom, we have the orange Zerg player DesRow with a very unique name on his ID, as we can see and type, Jimaholic.
I'm so glad he's willing to poke fun at himself. That is like absolutely hilarious. Oh no, some people in chat are already starting to correct us. Apparently this account belongs to Major. Either one, you know what? That joke works for both of them. So they're both willing to poke fun at themselves, I guess. I don't know.
That's actually pretty funny. Thanks to Major for lending DesRow his account for the Korean Weekly. Very classy guy. And we already see a change from our recent PvZs. We're going to see a Forge Fast expand. Yay, a little bit more standard than we've seen. But who's to say what standard is these days, to be honest?
Oh, yeah, who is to say? Well, I mean, standard could be defined as, what happens in the majority of games. But if you looked at that back in like GSL Season 1, one base SCV Marine all-ins would be the standard, which, it's not. So it's hard to define, but standard really is nowadays Forge Expand, and standard from Zerg is 3 hatch, no gas, into Roach Max. That's just kind of the trend nowadays. So it's always happening. So we'll see, how well DesRow is able to deal with that type of strategy, if that's what Symbol goes for. Symbol throwing down that 14 pool, though, just the standard as well in the matchup now, because the probe's going to block it if you try to go for that hatch first.
What's your favorite follow-up to the Forge Fast Expand?
My favorite in terms of, like, what's the most effective, or what's the most fun to do?
No, what do you like to do the most?
And
I guess you could say what's most effective. I mean, like Stargate versus 6-gate pressure versus 8-gate all-in versus 2+2 blink.
I'm one of those players that hates all-ins personally, because I feel like, well, even though you learn about like what holds it off, you don't like learn a lot about like late game control and things like that. So personally, I like to try to play a standard game with like 4-gate Robo, pumping Immortals, going to blink Stalkers and Sentries.
So you don't even pressure in the beginning.
Right, no. It's unbelievably difficult to play. Like, if I miss a single force field, the game's just over. Like, literally.
No, yeah,
and I lose like all my games that way because I'm really bad.
Wow, that's one way to do it. If you can figure that out and just be able to hold anything, like, you're gonna be pretty darn good at the game. I personally feel like you have to do something. I don't know if it's a quick just 4-gate +1. Just send a couple zealots. Send 4 zealots.
I did that for a while. It's not that I didn't try that stuff. I was doing 4-gate +1 zealot for a really long time, but Zergs just figured out the timings. They figured out when they need to get roaches by. They usually hold it off without losing their 3rd hatch. Nowadays, 4-gate +1 with Void Ray even gets held off most of the time. I have really been a little bit enamored of a build that I saw on the forums, a Dominus, I think. Maybe it's Adam Minus, I'm not sure.
Was it the full gas out at 200?
Oh, no, it's
that one's crazy.
It's just it's like a gate, Nexus. You go for a really fast +1 zealot build, 4-gate or 3-gate, but the difference is since you went gate Nexus instead of going Forge Expand, the timing's a lot earlier, so Zergs aren't prepared for it. and then you follow it up with +2 Blink Stalker. So a lot of players like +2 Blink Stalker nowadays. That's so common PvZ to do 7-gate +2 Blink Stalker all in against this. So maybe we'll see something like that from DesRow.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. His double gas is now just mining, so we'll have to see if he goes for like +1 really quickly, if he's just going to go for that warp gate, maybe pump out a sentry or something.
Yeah, I think my favorite right now, I was talking to Vile Hawk. We were at this Houston LAN this past weekend. He's telling me about a 6-gate. It's not an all-in. You just pressure, make zealots and stalkers. It's okay to lose your zealots, but you can run your stalkers away if you're not feeling into it. And if they go 3 hatch, like, it's really hard for them to like hold. And all you have to do is just like do a little bit of damage. Then behind it, you put down 2 gases. You get your robo, get an immortal, maybe go into Colossi, and then slowly get your expansion. And it applies a lot of pressure. It's not all in, and you're pretty much guaranteed to do damage. So I would suggest trying that out. It's actually a lot of fun and pretty darn effective.
I'll definitely have to check that out. We actually don't see any gas started yet from Symbol. We'll see if he goes with a double gas at 6 minute. Some players do it even later at like 6:30, but you have to be careful against those type of early timings. And +1 has been started. His Overlord sees that. That's why that Overlord positioning is so amazing. He sees Warp Gate being Chrono boosted and +1 on the way. This should be a dead giveaway. This is either going to be 4-gate +1 Zealot, or it's going to be 4-gate +1 Zealot with Void Ray as well. So hopefully he'll get the double gas was at about 6 minutes, and that should allow him to get roaches out in time to stop this, assuming his control is good enough. Especially if you can deny forward pylons from moving down, it just shuts this build down completely.
These gateways seem a little late. They might be okay, but if you Chrono Boost the Cybernetic Core, Warp Gate's going to finish before the gateways are done. Adding on 3 of them, how much further he's like? I would stop at 4 here. Considering Warp Gate's gonna finish. Sending a Zealot and a Stalker out, I like this decision. Clear out the map, gain some map control, and this also leaves some room for your probe to maneuver. If you get all the units off the map, your probe can go down and put a pylon somewhere, and then you can warp in really close. So Warp Gate's gonna finish here. It looks like he's just gonna do a 4-gate pressure with a Twilight Council. That's interesting.
Oh, nice. No, it's just a follow up, so you can continue to +2 right after +1 finishes.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you really need that +2 Blink Stalker timing behind this +1 Zealot attack. So, wow, 8 drones on the way from Symbol.
Yeah.
He sees this coming, he sees the forward pylon, and he still makes 8 drones. And he starts a lair, and he hasn't started a Roach Horn yet.
He hasn't?
What is he doing?
He's just going to rely on Lings, I guess?
But he didn't make Lings, he made drones. What do you... Symbol... What?
There's the Roach Horn. This is so late, though, and DesRow's going to do a bunch of damage here.
Yeah.
There's nothing here to defend. Okay, there's a Spine Clone and a Queen and some drones, but you have to micro like a champion to be able to keep these units from doing damage. And look at this, he's only investing his minerals into this, and this is pretty cool because you can afford to lose Zealots in the PvZ matchup. It's the gas that's super important. Adding on 3 gateways, adding on Blink, adding on +2 ground weapons. So gonna follow this up with an 8-gate +2 Blink all in. Wow. But he's not engaging here. He just backed away.
Or yeah, I think he's still on 7, but 30 more Lings were just made.
Okay.
30 more. I mean, not a big deal. That's just usually a standard number. 30 more Lings were made. So Symbol, now that speed's done, he should actually be able to hold this off. And considering DesRow hasn't really put on the pressure yet, hasn't stopped that 3rd base with all these drones mining, Symbol's going to get further and further ahead. But Symbol not going for the defense. He's actually going for a counterattack. Oh my God! Can DesRow warp in a Zealot there? No. His warp gates are on cooldown. This counterattack is going to be absolutely brutal. He sends his army to go for the 3rd right now, which is a great move. He might be able to take out the 3rd, but he's going to lose so many probes in the process.
Yeah, you can't let that happen as a Protoss player. You can't let all those Lings get by. They're just going to decimate your economy. You warp in a couple Zealots, oh well, the Zerglings are just going to surround and kill them pretty fast. And DesRow, he can't win this game. Very unfortunate situation for him. Something else I want to touch on is like he didn't move in with his initial Zealots and Stalkers to try to do damage, which I think could have done a lot of damage, and all these roaches here should be enough to hold off this push from DesRow. Keep in mind, he can't reinforce behind this.
Yeah, he can just use his drones to defend. He knows that the Protoss basically has nothing. It's really at 13 harvesters to 48, and the GG gets called out. That was just like a really slight mistake from DesRow costing him that game. Just one thing that you kind of always have to do when you do that build, you have to remember that you're always warping in units at the front. You're never sending out units from your base. You're not sending probes out anymore either. So you always want to, at the very, very least, leave a probe blocking that choke point. But what a safer way to do it is just drop a pylon. Just full wall yourself, and then the Zerg can't counterattack. And then he looks silly because when he sends 60 Zerglings to your natural and you have a pylon there and he can't get in, you just make more pylons if he tries to kill it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's losing his 3rd, and those Lings aren't doing anything for him.
Yeah, it's all the way back.
That slight mistake of not walling himself off.
Honestly, though,
Lost it. Although, yeah, I gotta say,
Yeah.
I don't think he would have broken the third
No.
with all those things there to defend. He didn't have enough units; they would have surrounded. So,
I think it came down like DesRow. Like that's another cool build. You just get 4 gateways, do some pressure, follow it up with the 7 gate +2 blink all in. But he got those initial units out, the 5 zealots and the stalker. He saw a spine crawl and a queen and said, "Nope, I'm not going to engage that."
yeah, I
And
think
that's-
what he was doing was preparing for the blink stalkers. Like, instead of trying to just go kill the third, he was like, I'm just gonna rush my blink and +2 so fast that I'll have that behind this attack. So you want to like build up more units and not risk losing his zealots to the spine crawler or something. But yeah, it didn't end up being the right choice, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Symbol's going to take game number 1 quite convincingly, but DesRow had a chance there, wasn't able to take advantage of the lateness of all of Symbol's tech, and the fact that he went for such a quick layer. I mean, we were like shocked. He's like, "Where's the Roach Warren getting his layer before the Roach Warren?"
I think he would have lost the third because of it.
Yeah.
If DesRow had attacked, that's the crazy
Yes,
thing.
but he didn't. So we'll
Yeah.
see how DesRow adjusts in game number 2. This is a best of 3 between DesRow and Symbol in the Korean Weekly, week number 1, day number 1, season 3. My name is Axel, joined by Orb. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2 between DesRow and Symbol after this quick commercial break.